It is time for one final stand. For real this time.
FSR is a hack and slash, looter slasher. It is meant to be fun and silly and snarky at times. You know, this is a game that doesn't try to take itself too seriously.
And now for my heroic champions that need no reintroduction.
My name is Michelle Davies. I'm art director at Unchained Entertainment, currently working on Final Stand Ragnarök.
My name is Mark Jacobs. I am the CEO slash chief creative at now Unchained Entertainment. We're currently working on three things: Final Stand Ragnarök, Camelot Unchained, and the Unchained engine, which powers the games that we're making now, the games we're going to make in the future, and also, of course, the name change. I've been making games literally forever. Started in college when words like Deck 10, PDP 11 were a thing. I've always believed in online games. I was mostly a self-taught programmer. In 2009, I co-founded this studio, and we've been making games ever since. It's been a while for us to get where we are. But the key thing for us is we never gave up. We never tried to sell things to our players to try to fund ongoing development. We went to investors, we brought in money, and now we're at the point where not only is FSR ready to launch, but our engine can do things that no one else that we've seen so far is able to do.
We started with working for iOS and app games, and then we saw opportunity with Kickstarter, and were inspired and on the idea of doing an MMO and also doing an engine that could support what we currently couldn't do in MMOs at the time, which was your Helm's Deep, hundreds of players experience. Many MMOs at the time, you could only do like 20 people, and suddenly you get to 50 and you're chugging. So we were working on Camelot Unchained, Kickstarter went well, and as we developed, FSR started as a demo, but we saw a lot of potential and got inspired by it. And we were only a team of 6, and over the decade and more, I've grown with the company and risen to art director to now work on Final Stand Ragnarök.
We started very small. As Michelle said, when she came on board, there were 6 of us. We grew to the 20s, and then thanks to investment, we're a much bigger team than we used to be. And so this evolution to Unchained is a very natural evolution because we've taken what is core about our studio, that is the technology, to power great games. We are not an engine company. We build tech to make the kind of games that we're interested in, and all of those are games that involve scale. Whether it's scale of players, whether it's a scale of NPCs, it is those kind of games that have always fascinated me. And now, at Unchained Entertainment, we continue to push the envelope. We continue to have the kind of scale and scope that no other engine has shown that they can deliver when it comes to large number of players, meaning not 10s and 20s, but hundreds and thousands, and the same number of NPCs.
From an artist perspective, the really cool part about it and where its core is, it allows for many more entities than you see in other engines to give you that Helm's Deep. Final Stand Ragnarök, it is the few versus hordes, thousands of enemies. And Camelot Unchained shows another aspect of our engine where it's many players, player versus each other, where you can get hundreds and have that Helm's Deep experience.
When we made the decision to build our own engine, what we wanted to do was large-scale battles, 500 or more people, 30 frames a second. That was the mantra, that was the goal, that was everything that mattered to us. And that's the core of what makes our engine so unique. The other thing that the engine does, it's rendering speed. We have put a lot of time and continue to put in time because being able to deliver that kind of experience is not just about the networking code. It's also about how fast your renderer is, how many unique objects you can deal with in real time. What's your frame rate going to be on older machines? So You know, that, I believe, is what makes us very special, and we're going to continue to do it.
The few versus the many, endless hordes in action. But what I like as an artist, and as we expand content-wise, you know, these lesser-known heroes and legends of history and stuff that we can provide a broader option range for players. And it's really fun to work as a small team, and you're going against hordes and hordes of enemies and giant bosses, fighting the legions of hell and so forth.
We're also going to have what we're calling First Look Fridays, where we're going to offer players a sneak peek at things like new scenarios, new champions, modified scenarios. Hey, maybe we'll make this a little harder, or maybe instead of 1,000 NPCs coming in a wave, we're going to make 500, make them a lot more powerful. We're going to try different things with them. We're going to show it to them. We're going to get feedback from them. No matter how well you thought things out, the players are going to have much more interesting things to say once they've played it. We want to see what they like, what they don't like. And the way FSR has been built, it is so easy for us to make changes, you know, in a scenario. We can make them live. Being able to do that real time with real players gives us such an edge in iteration.
FSR coming up, more champions, skins, and content, and fun items. We have some quirky ones. And even more exciting, especially seeing what we're developing on the art side, new environments and zones to be fighting in, and unique enemies, and even bigger and badder bosses.
Oh, yeah! I knew you had grit. Only a few more waves left. Keep on bashing.
Based on what we've seen from all the tests, people just are blown away when they see how many of the bad guys, not only coming at them, but acting independently. Our bad guys come right at you. They don't stand around. They're not, you know, activating only when you get close to them. You are literally seeing thousands coming over the hills right at you. Not only are you seeing the set, but you're seeing actually the NPCs. And you see them moving. It's not just a dot on a map. You will see them coming at you almost from one side of the map to the other. And when people saw that for the first time, they're like, how can you do this? You know, no one can do that. Well, we can do that. So that's one of the exciting things. And then when we get into the dungeon, we can bring that sense of scale as well to battles within a dungeon. So like when you go and encounter some of the spiders, lots of spiders in the dungeon, the numbers that players see is not what they're used to seeing, you know, in your typical, you know, dungeon explorer. But then you get to the boss battle, and it opens to this grand space with a huge cavern with a different skybox. And when we can throw everything we can at the players, I think they're going to find it really challenging and really interesting. Folks like Michelle and everyone else that is a part of Unchained Entertainment, their efforts have helped put us where we are today. So I want to thank them very, very much for the efforts to date, and hopefully continued efforts going forward, because that's what made this all possible.
If you would like to experience what it feels like to be in that moment, the middle of Helm's Deep, fighting the onslaught, you're really going to like Final Stand Ragnarok.
There's a reason it's called Final Stand. It is meant to be an experience that is tough. It's meant to be an experience where players will be challenged not only now, but in the future. So if you're excited about scale, if you're excited about seeing what our engine can do, and if you're excited at bashing the undead and demigods and the occasional god, give us a shot. I can promise them that they're going to see something that they haven't seen before. And that for us is important. The goal right now is to launch on Steam in March, PC of course, and then over the remainder of the year, we're going to be working to get it at least on one of the consoles and launch fairly quickly after that.
Just hope players will join in and enjoy our game, and also enjoy hearing feedback from players so we can help develop and make it even bigger, badder, and stronger.